Good morning. In this video, I'm going to read through an extended reading paper. And in the next video, I'm going to talk through the examiner's reports about that paper and the mistakes which were made. I shall also include a link to the paper so that if you wish, you can have a go at the tasks yourself, maybe print off the passages and highlight them as revision for your exam. This paper was the November 2012 0522 syllabus paper about Julia and her parents. The question runs as follows. Julia, during her recovery, fully explained her experience to her parents. A reporter for a newspaper interviews Julia's parents and asks the following three questions only. What made you choose to visit the rainforest in Ecuador with your daughter, Julia? How did Julia's accident happen, and what did she do to survive? What are your thoughts and feelings towards the Achuar people and their way of life? In bold, it tells you to write the words of the interview, beginning with the first question. And it also instructs you to base your interview on what you have read in passage A. Be careful to use your own words. Write between 1.5 and 2 sides, allowing for the size of your handwriting. Up to 15 marks are available for the content of your answer and up to 5 marks for the quality of your writing. Okay, so I'm going to read passage A. It tells us in italics, in this passage, Julia and her parents are visiting the remote Capawi jungle in Ecuador, South America. The family was trudging in single file through the dense undergrowth. As they sweated, they waved sticks at buzzing flies, while trying to stay sure-footed over the thick knots and tangles of roots below. Accompanied by an effortlessly agile local guide, they could barely breathe as the jungle, steaming and hissing, stole their air. They stopped in a clearing and took countless photographs. Above, howler monkeys broke into outraged hoots and screams, and tropical birds, higher still, splashed the canvas of the jungle with bright colours or flecked green onto patches of blue sky. Despite the humidity and terrible discomfort, they were thrilled to have finally arrived in this remote and extraordinary place. Only accessible by plane, Kapawi is one of the last places on Earth where you can experience the rainforest in all its glory. The opportunity to observe the incredibly rich biodiversity and abundance of wildlife, as well as 500 species of birds, was irresistible for Julia's biologist parents. Even more fascinating for Julia was the opportunity to meet the Achuar community, who have lived in harmony with this rainforest for generations. They were one of the last indigenous groups to remain totally isolated until the 1970s and continue to preserve their traditional culture. Julia and her parents knew that the world's rainforests are being destroyed, and conservation, like that found in Kapawi, is sadly rare. The family felt privileged to experience this wonderful place and its people. The guide suddenly signalled to Julia's father that they should turn back, as a slight trickle of rain filtered its way down through the jungle canopy. They wondered why, not realising that this was tropical rain and dangerous. Within seconds it became a violent storm, with torrential rain beating down in a dark and sweltering atmosphere. The ground transformed into a wave of thick mud that made them lose their footing, and mini rapids formed, capable of sweeping a body away on a strong current down into the belly of the jungle. This was a flash flood, and in a split second Julia felt the sensation of being pulled from her mother's side, sliding, crashing, and then nothing. Hours later, lying in deep darkness, with an injury to her head and concussion, Julia knew that she must force herself up. All her survival training told her not to succumb to sleep. She had to find her parents. She imagined their voices telling her over and over again, "Don't give in." Shouting was hopeless in this screaming jungle, and she staggered with the effort of moving. The dense foliage, above and below, snaked, twisted, and snared her at every step of her torturous journey. The angry whir of swarms of insects, some as large as model aircrafts, orbited her constantly, ceasing only to dive, attack, and bite. There was a stream up ahead which she thought might lead to a village, but her elation was short-lived. As she waded through dark, knee-high water, more creatures gravitated towards her, and leeches attached themselves to her legs. Delirious with exhaustion and pain, she curled up on the bank of the stream and waited, hoping to be rescued. The moment they reached a village, Julia's parents raised a desperate alarm. The villagers, knowing the rainforest intimately, spread out in their search for the yellow-haired one. Her decision to stay close to the stream helped them find her, but they were horrified by her appearance. A patchwork of deep scratches, welts and sores marked her pale skin, and her fair hair was now dark, soaked and knotted. They encouraged her to eat, but this made her feel ill, and so she refused food. The organisers of the family's trip tried to persuade them to leave Kapawi and return to a hospital in the nearest city, hundreds of miles away. But as Julia's parents watched the Achuar nurse her back to health, they realised they had nothing to fear. These villagers know all the secrets of the rainforest and have an encyclopedic knowledge of the medical uses of every tree and plant. Their harmonious lifestyle, community spirit, and generosity were all Julia needed to recover. The family had found what they had always been looking for. I'm just going to read question 2, just so that you know what it is. Question 2 asks you to look at paragraphs 1 and 4. It says, reread the descriptions of the rainforest and its wildlife in paragraph 1 from The Family Was Trudging. And then B, Julia's walk through the rainforest in search of her parents in paragraph 4 from Hours Later. Then it asks you to select words and phrases from these descriptions and explain how the writer has created effects by using this language. It says to write between 1 and 1.5 sides, allowing for the size of your handwriting, and up to 10 marks are available for the content of your answer. I'm now going to read passage B in a minute, but before I read passage B, I will just read out question 3, again so that you know what you're looking for. Question 3 asks you to summarise A, what the Kalahari expedition offers a traveller, as described in passage B, not yet read, and then B, the challenges and potential problems faced by visitors to the rainforest, as described in passage A. Use your own words as far as possible. Aim to write no more than 1 side in total, allowing for the size of your handwriting. Write your response on the lines provided on page 9. You don't actually get space now. You write that in a different booklet. Up to 15 marks are available for the content of your answer and up to 5 marks for the quality of your writing. So here goes for passage B. Many people are looking for an adventure holiday. This advertisement, taken from a website, offers travellers the opportunity to visit the Kalahari in Namibia, Africa. Discover the true meaning of safari as you walk with the San Bushmen deep in the arid sunlands of the Kalahari. Our 2-week expedition is not your average safari, it's an experience, whether it's being awestruck by the staggering vastness of the landscape, that instinctive trick